First of all, welcome everyone to the Python programming lecture we have attended. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nitish Vivek, and I'm working with LearnBay with technologies like Python, R, SQL, Tableau, and working in corporates as a business analyst as of now, where I have hands-on technologies on Python, and I also know how to use the data science, machine learning for data analytics and business intelligence applications. And I have my clients over in the banking and insurance sector. Majorly there we have it. So as I'm going to start, we can also share the screen. It's right over here. Okay, so first your questions. I'm from Delhi, working as business analyst. So you might be having certain questions and we can highlight over there. Nitish, working as a business analyst. Alright, don't use please. Don't use annotations. Just leave that thing for me. Okay. Working as a business analyst, and I have my hands on technologies like Python, R, and your Tableau, Power BI. Then I have my data science, machine learning, NLP. I also know how to do. My expertise is not in the deep learning, although I can make various applications with Python, how to automate the task and data science, data analytics, SQL is there. So all these things I can cover. So just to have an idea on my audience today, if you can highlight me like who are in school, I mean college, school, or who are under freshers. So you can let me know those things. So we have bachelors, freshers. Okay. MC also. Great. Like there is any stream which is from very different, like chemical or electrical, LLB like. Yeah, it's a very different stream. MCA. Triple E. Okay. Control. So maximum I think are from fresh working. I see one working and second working. So how if you are like and majorly my audience is from which location, you can write down. Abbreviations are also okay. Which location you are as of now? Okay, it's mix, I guess. So majorly from south. If any in my conversation you are feeling a lag or breaks over here, you let me know. I'll switch off my video for a couple of minutes and then we can continue. So as of now, is my voice audible, clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. So we have seen like we have a lot of participants over in different domains. You can find me on LinkedIn also. Couple of students or other peoples whom I have interaction with, they already tagged me. So under Nitish Vig, my name is full name Nitish Vig. So you can find on that LinkedIn or GitHub also, or your LinkedIn or GitHub or HackerRank. There I have my profile. And the main motive of this course is to give you a hands-on how to use a Python programming, how to use it for web scraping application, and automate a task using your Selenium. Couple of words will be very new to all of you, and don't worry, I'm going to start from the basics and how to use it. By the end of the program, you will be also given my files, so you have to just run it, and after that you will get the solutions like I have got. So you just need to install the particular Python and its relevant package. This is the process I believe you have to follow. Which life project you will be making? Biomedical engineer from Nigeria. Oh, welcome, Darlington. So let me show you the project also. So who is it? Darlington, Enley, right? Okay, Prem. So you have couple of questions. I okay with it. You can just throw your questions, relevant questions, please. So don't say like where to start, and of course I will be starting with that one only, how to go and applications. Any major questions, like I can see Mr. Prem Kumar question. Is it worth for finance and account background people? So yes, it is worth. I myself is from finance background, and I have now seen very automation tasks to be covered in Python, and web scraping also already done. So these things, yes, it matters. And one of the project I'm going to show, in fact, I have multiple projects I have covered using only and only with Python. See, is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, certificate will be given, don't worry. Okay, so don't ask these basic questions. I have made one project, and this is entirely on a e-commerce website, how you do a shopping. So if I run this project, I have automated everything. So similarly, it's just an example how to automate the stuff. And this website which I'm going to automate, it's also very freely available with some basic limitation. I think you as a practitioner, you can use 5 or 10 times a day. So there are certain websites available to practice for Selenium automation. So you can see here, not doing anything. I just automated my stuff. Just double click on my Python code .py file, and now it is going to work in one go. I think because of internet connectivity, it will be a little slower. So it's going to some website, and while going to website, on the top address bar, you can see there is small robot icon that shows that I am not doing anything. It is being automated with few clicks and tips and tricks. I've done all that stuff, and believe me, it's not that much hard. So everything you saying, it's being done. I think last year I've completed it, my Selenium and scrapping. So you can see here it's finished because of this internet connectivity. But I have prepared a video which I can show like what I have done. So just see this video.
Please allow us to record this session.
So what I have done, just run the program. You can see now.
Sir, allow us to record the session.
It is recorded here. It is being recorded. Okay.
Where will we get that video?
You can't record it. You will get the access. It will be uploaded on the YouTube also, and on LinkedIn page, the Learn by LinkedIn page. It will be uploaded. I will share the link with that. Okay. And after and after the program has been done, it has also taken a screenshot of the last page for the entire process. So this is like what automation is being actually, what you say, automation, the big words in the industry, how you can automate. So website side automation, if you want to go online and some with clicks and some functions out there, you can automate that stuff. So it can be possible that for marketing persons and they would like to download that Facebook ads data from time to time or Google ads data from time to time, they can do so. Everything can be done. So this is the project that I will be covering, but I can see the I can show you the applications what I have done. Not today 2 hours, so tomorrow also 2 hours I need that thing for Selenium. So I have added few projects here. For example, this news article, there is a certain website out there and I would like to download the entire data. So each time I cannot go to some website and download data, read about it. So I just made a program, and with quick tips and tricks, you can see the program is downloaded. So this is the top article on the some web page. I will show that thing later on. So for some web page I have mentioned, assume that it's Hindustan Times or your Times of India, and from that top article, so it is being picked up. And this top article data is right over here. So I will not go to the website again. I just have to double click. Similarly, hashtags trending. This is a mix of scrapping also and a mix of automation also, but it's a mostly scrapping, not automation. So hashtag, you now see now that on Instagram or on Facebook, whenever you upload a picture or some status out there, you're looking for top hashtag so that your status is on the top amongst your community, right? And that I can do. So tell me any word. I will show you the hashtag for it. Any word, recent word.
Election.
You can write in the chat box. Oh, big boss. Come on, yeah.
Third booster dose.
Lockdown. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see the lockdown. So it's written the program, this simple user interface I've given. So I would like to look forward to search for hashtag. Okay, search for hashtag and you said lockdown. Within fraction of a second, you can see it is being generated. And I double click, and I hope these things are relevant to stop that lockdown. Maximum COVID, quarantine. What is this? Dirumhaja. Is it some other South Indian language or different out of a country language? And lockdown life, follow for follow back, and pandemic. So these things you can see have been picked up. As of now, I didn't know about it. So certain websites I have to go through scrapping. So this is like scrapping. Within fraction of a second, you can get that immediate results. And based on that, you can make huge programs very easier. So you can get the data, and it's, I think, very freely available. Now you don't have to purchase for anything. If I go for trending hashtag today, that is 11th of Jan 2022, what is the trending hashtag? So put 2 over here. In the same file, the answer will be stored. I put 2, sorry. Delete this file. 1. And this is the trending hashtag. So you use maximum of this hashtag today on any of your social media websites, and I think yours will be the top one. So these I have actually taken a cap. You can see limited are there. Maximum 30 are allowed on your Instagram. If you just search it out for marketing persons, they can search out. So I have put a cap of 30 only. You can have unlimited. It's unlimited available on the internet. It's your program. You can take anything required. So this is what you can also do with scrapping. And one thing is more, Like I would like to scrap this corona data. So everything is very important, what I'm going to teach tomorrow also. Because of scrapping automation, you need basic understanding of the website inspection. What we mean by inspection, because in that the hidden is data, the data is hidden behind it. So if I just scrap corona's data with respect to today's date, the 11th January 2022, how many latest cases we have, and this is going to see, so it's 3,11,000. Just search online if I'm wrong. 3,11,000 total cases we had, and it has generated a file for also you. So just go to that Worldometer Corona website, and within fractional setting, your data in tabular form is available to you. So you can see the USA country for today. Is it 6,26,000? Can someone confirm today? In India, it's 3,58,000. Gosh. Total cases 3 lakh or 35 lakhs? 35. Oh, 3 crore 58 lakhs. Sorry. Is it correct? Anyone?
For India, it is correct. USA,
Okay.
I don't know.
So just check it out. It's today's data, what I have actually extracted. And similarly, Mr. Prem, who has asked this beautiful question, you can actually scrap this data from the financial websites like your stock marketing and your investment growth or mutual funds out there, and you can work towards it. So I just need a tabular data first of all. With a click of a program, I'll be able to get it. Oh, thank you, Neha, for confirming. So these are various programs out there. Is the program getting hashtags? Yeah. Okay, so this is the application of the scrapping and automation we have. So don't save this result. So any questions as of now? Major questions you have in mind? Before we start, you can interact with me. So we can have next 5-10 minutes. By 7:30 p.m. we can start with a fresh topic. In a web scripting. Well, in data science, when we talk about, it's majorly how to work on analytics in the data or make predictions. So if you're not able to extract data from numerous resources, you're failing at the very first step. I'm going to share the steps also that can be used for your data scientist path, so which is not very easily available. I will get that to you also. How did you generate that Python file? By saving my Python code. You know, basics of Python. Do we need to know the basics of Python to understand about this program? Well, Abhishek, I will be teaching today the basics of Python also. So as of now, the only understanding you require, how to write maths problem and English. How to start automation project. By working on a combined tool of scrapping and your Selenium automation, you can start the automation project anytime. So Python, web scrapping libraries, and Selenium automation. These three things are required. Oh, I did not know that this was the third session you are attending of mine. Thank you. Yeah, the best way, Mr. Dibjyoti Sen, to get into data science is to learn about Python, SQL, and data science libraries. The quickest way. Sai Santosh, you can message me again, okay? If I missed it. नहीं लव कुश, एक्चुअली मेजोरिटी साउथ से है ना, तो हिंदी में नहीं चलेगा. What is the use of Python in Power BI? Well, Cube, the Power BI also have a section where you can write the Python code. Python has a beautiful data that visualization package, Seaborn and Matplot. But sometimes it's very hard to plot something and it takes time. So you can write a Python code in Power BI also, and that can be plotted in the Power BI itself. And you can have more information over there. But that is very different. It's advanced Power BI, that what we call as Power BI developer. I'm not a developer. I am an analyst working. So I can use Power BI for different applications. But yes, I can write the code, not to its like full, you can say full capacity. I'm lagging on full capacity over there. Well, Rahul Deshmukh, data science can make your work short because it can be used for various predictions. In chemicals, you are making the predictions. So let me show you one of the project that I have made only with the Python and use data science package over here. So it is, here it is. So Rahul, I would request you to share a little of information. It's like predicting if you are having corona. Similarly, you can predict if the particular chemical composition you are writing or chemical reactions you're doing or making some medicines in the pharma industry, what type of prediction it can provide to you. So similarly here, depending on these features, these properties, what it's going to, you are going to provide if you're having corona or not. So if I say it's Rahul, gender male. So Rahul, are you, what is your age? Rahul? Yeah, of course, you can ask in Hindi the questions.
Hello.
I'm okay with it.
Hello, sir. Sir, 24, sir.
24.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there is small mistake. Its temperature is in Fahrenheit. So around 98, 99. What is your temperature today?
Can you pardon, sir?
What is the temperature you are having today? Random, if you can let me know.
Like it's 24 degree.
Okay, 34. Let's say it's like 96, 97. We are hoping that you have 98 today. Are you having any cough? Yes, no.
Hello?
Having cough? Yes, no.
Yeah.
Having? Okay. Are you sneezing today?
No, sir.
Are you having diabetes? I don't know. Feeling tired?
No, sir.
In the past, if you have suffered from corona, then how many days?
No, sir. मुझे कोरोना नहीं हुआ, sir.
So let it be 0.
Yeah.
Now see, this thing I have not coded at the back end. It is working on this data set. Similarly, in chemicals, you will be having some data set also.
Yeah.
So it is a must. Data is a must to work on. And I'm working on this data.
Actually, sir, I'm a chemical engineer and I have 2-year experience in a food industry. And I
Okay.
want to
So
move,
food you have opportunity.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
have various things.
So I want to move towards the data science. That's why I'm here to hear it.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So in this program, what I'm doing, I'm just depending on the machine learning to help me answer whether the person is having corona or not. Once that answer I have achieved, the only thing I'm doing, 2 things. If yes, then do some precaution, isolate yourself. If no, then precaution and SMS for precaution that I have highlighted. Let me check the result. So you're doing great. Use SMS for precaution. This means that you're not having any corona. So this is a prediction.
Yeah.
You can see my logic over here also.
I'm not seeing the code.
Code, I'm not opening any code. Why will I let you know my code? But today, let's have this code to show you. So you can see there's a couple of things have been done, and I'm using one other machine learning model, which is decision tree classifier for the predictions. And this will tell me whether the person is having corona or not. If the person, achha, you have not seen that answer, SMS for precaution. So the test says that the person is having corona. So you can see my logic is only working here. If result is one that is having corona, then use this line, isolate yourself, and if no, and then provide this line as the answer. This is my code, but rest everything I'm depending on machine learning to make the predictions for me. So I'm not writing that if gender is equal to male and sneeze yes, cough yes, then I'm not making any case studies. And I have just wrapped this program in couple of sentences. Like let's say it's 89 is the maximum length. And if I have this thing in the software programming using C++ Java, it could have taken like 300 to 400 lines to cover. So using machine learning, you can avoid that many lines. and you can automate your answer depending on machine learning to provide you the best answer. Okay. So I hope I have answered your question, Mr. Rahul. Okay, Sai Santosh, I got your answer. A question. I will highlight, put more light on it. Just wait for it. I will also answer your question, Mr. Mohammad Raza. Okay, what we need. What is data science? I'm going to cover that thing. Knowledge of machine learning, AI necessary for data analyst. Yes, it is important. And okay, Sai, I will come back to your question. Okay, then I'm not able to understand what you're highlighting. Well, within 2 days in Python to that level will be covered so that you can also automate the stuff on any website. Yes, love को यहाँ Python के basics बताए जाएंगे आज. Can I have pressure? Can a fresher get a job as data analyst? Very hard. Until unless you are from a top college or you have done like really good graduation degree or master graduation, you will get a data analyst job in India. Outside India, you can.
Sir, I have one question, sir. Can I ask, sir?
हाँ जी राहुल.
सर जैसे सर मैंने केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग किया है और सर अभी जैसे 2 साल का मेरा टेक्निकल एक्सपीरियंस है सर. और सर अगर मैं भी डाटा साइंस अभी अगर सीखता हूँ तो सर इसमें अगर मेरा जो करियर ट्रांजिशन है वो दूसरे फील्ड में हो रहा है तो सर इसमें क्या क्या चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़ेंगे सर?
Good question. So we can discuss that thing later on. Okay. So yours is very specific.
Okay.
Yes, I'm starting Dharminder, the basic Python. Yes, Neha, you will get the session recording for sure. Okay, I have questioned enough. Like yeah, I've taken enough questions. So rest of the questions we are going to take up in the end again by 8:45, 8:40. Okay, so skills I think I should highlight, which can help you to work towards the Python and basic skills that are required. It is helpful for both experienced persons as well as freshers out there. If we talk about skills here, so we have a couple of fields that I have narrowed it down, and I think it can add few key points. Those who are looking forward for job change, no matter which field you're working in, you can have a job change over here. So first skill is that if you're looking forward to grow your career in analytics. So analytics have couple of things where someone has said like BA or DA. So yes, BA nowadays also works with analytics and business analytics or business analyst, business intelligence, even data analyst, data analytics, data science manager, and data science associate. So these are various fields nowadays coming up, and you might also have heard of the things like HR analytics, customer analytics. So anywhere when you see a word analytics, minimum 2+ relevant experience are required. First of all, 2+ years of relevant experience and your exposure towards working on any project, in corporate project, of course. Okay, so that is they are looking forward for analytics. These are very high profile jobs, and especially if you are looking forward to work on Python, so they will not allow you unless you have worked on some projects. Everyone can start with a executive, associate, entry level job, developer level job, and then they can actually move towards the analytics. So there's a proper structure toward it. Okay, I will brief down that structure later on. For analytics, if you're looking forward in India, the very first thing is you should know how to work on the Excel. No matter which company you're looking forward, everyone wants you to learn Excel and apply it. all the basic commands. Even VBA, if you know, that's the add-on, if you know it. But I will be automating the stuff using Python only. So I will not require VBA for it. I find it easier to automate the stuff on using Python. The next is some coding language. You can have Python over here. You can have R over here. SAS. SPSS is a more of statistics. You have also Stata over here. Stata, SPSS. So these are more of different statistics or mathematic tools which you can use for data analysis. But Python, R are for coding. SAS is a mix of coding and a drop down. And SAS is a paid one. The company has to buy the subscription for around like 80,000, something like $10,000, I guess. $10,000 a year they have to pay. That's the subscription cost of SAS. So it's too costly. Python, R, where on the other end are very free. They just have to give a subscription for the softwares you are using. For Python, we have various softwares, and R, we also have various softwares. So they pay for that, but the programming tool is freely available. Third is, you're looking to do the programming, and correct me, those who are in corporates, if I'm wrong. If you are not good at SQL, no job will going to give you an entry. Any corporate person can give me an acknowledgement? Is it yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
SQL, you can say it's as important as Excel. So basic SQL acceptable, but you should know intermediate level, how to perform joins and your queries, group by, having clause, and cleaning the data transformation, everything if you know with SQL. And depending the sector you're going in, maybe it's different sector. So MySQL, sorry, not MySQL, MongoDB or NoSQL. So depending on the industry you are looking forward, but everything starts with SQL. Once you have understood the structure format, then you can move to the unstructured format, which is NoSQL. The fourth one, you have learned something programming, you have extracted the data, but if it is not worth if you are not able to do analytics on it. So analytics can be as simple as improvising the data, making the incorrect data to the absolute correct form what you are capable of. So that thing you should know, and we can complete that stuff using the pandas and NumPy. Another visualization package also, like Matplotlib and Seaborn you can use. So these things for your Python. The other is, so it's pandas, NumPy are only for Python. For R, we have Dipler and your Dipler, ggplot for R. Okay, this is Python and this is R. Sixth is to present your results, make reports, show the KPIs, key information what you have gathered. So for that we use Tableau, Power BI. And again, these are paid. Please guys, don't annotate. It will not help others to see the important information. So clear my drawings. Can I clear it? Clear your drawings. Okay, done. So please don't do that. So again, it depends on the company. If they bought the subscription for Power BI or Tableau, then you can work on it. But people are also using the free trials and other things. So you can have ClickSense also. Maybe depending on the only Excel dashboard or Python visualization. Depends on the MNC. If they're capable, they will purchase the subscription for Tableau and Power BI. My company has purchased for Tableau. So I was able to have some good hands-on. And the other thing is required if you know machine learning also. Not the complete, but you can say 10% minimum. Okay. So this is all you require for your analytics. These are for analytics. And nowadays, there's a hot job that's going on, is machine learning. Machine learning engineer or deep learning engineer. They're looking forward to grow. So what you have learned from all sides in analytics, master that one, learn ML models, all the ML models that you have to study, everything. This thing needs every ML model in and out. The math, stats. So stats basically how to improve that thing. You have to showcase that result, and it's very, very deep stats. So maths and stats is there, and deploy the model. Deploy the model in the form of some app. Like I have built some Corona small app, mini app. So I was having some user interference and give with live data. So similarly, deploy it in the desktop app form or on some website using Flask, Django, or Heroku is there, free tools. So you can use that. Apart from that, company is going to ask you for Azure Cloud, Google, and your AWS. So these things the companies can ask. They have a budget actually. So this is the one. The other thing for machine learning, and nowadays they are very much focusing also, you should know the NLP, the backbone for text analytics and speech recognition skills. And as well as you should know also OpenCV. Arun, request you to please don't annotate, okay? Or I have to block you if you do it again. Yes, Veera, I'm coming to the Python also. So this is just for 2 designations. I want to like to highlight skills as you're going to have more and more jobs now opening, especially after COVID-19. So you have good opportunities out there. And now for Python, what you know about Python? Okay, we can actually have that thing in my presentation also. I have highlighted few of the domains over there. So what type of tool you can use for Python programming? So Python programming, if you're looking forward, where to code Python, there are a couple of tools available in the market where you can practice for Python. The very first one I used was Python Idle. It is actually the person who have developed Python. They have developed that software, Idle, what we call it, Python Idle, around 30 MB file. So check your system requirement and you can use it. The other is, for a developer perspective, you can use PyCharm. So PyCharm, using that you can use for database applications, website development is there, and your Python scripting, that is for backend operations, you can use it for gaming. So basically, if you're looking forward to make any of the Python file to automate the stuff, that is .py file to automate the stuff, or .exe file to make some software, you can use the PyCharm. Nowadays, there is one more tool which from the same developers who have made this PyCharm, they have developed one more tool. That is mine. Not able to recall that name. You can just Google it.
PyInstaller.
So, sorry?
PyInstaller.
PyInstaller? No. IntelliJ, who has developed this PyCharm, they have developed one more tool to practice and develop more that Python apps out there. And for, I think it's relevant for data science applications. Just Google it, you will get it. Huh?
Anaconda?
No, that's not from IntelliJ. Chalo, I will get back to it. Sorry? No.
Also,
So,
we can type the AWS Lambda as well.
yeah. So it's approximately 500 MB file, and it's only working on a local system. This is for all these applications we can use. I myself use PyCharm for all the automation tasks and these tools and these operations which I have highlighted. For data science, if your core domain is data science and machine learning, the process can be done a little faster with respect to it. So it can be done, and it's very easier because you are able to see the results in front of you. Remember this, we are using PyCharm to make a single .py file, a multiple .py file, or a single .exe file, which you can use for automation. This is everyone is using at the backend. Even the person who has developed the Python coding in itself, they are using it. See, if I go to my C drive, users, Nitish, app data, roaming, Python, site packages. You will see that there are a couple of packages over here. These packages are used very friendly to make your task easier. You can make some Python program to make some task easier, but that's an entirely different thing. We explain it in the class. But just giving a brief idea. For example, there is one of the package. I can use some PyTest is there. I don't know what is PyTest, so I might have used it. So you can see there are all .py file. Everything is a .py file to run the Python program. So whenever you have to build some program which you can use for automation to make a package or different application perspective, we use always .py file. That Anaconda someone was mentioning, or Jupyter, that is not used for your software development. It is not used for that. It is for data science applications and your deep learning applications out there, your OpenCV, computer vision. But for making a software type program, we use that PyCharm, what I highlighted, Python Idle, Thorny, Visual Studio Code, some people use, Sublime Text. There are a couple of examples. You will see hundreds of sources are there. And if I click it, you will see it's only and only Python code written at the backend. Although some people might not be familiar, so just take it that this is how the code looks, and some classes and functions, some technical terms,
Oh,
it will be there. Okay. So this is we have at the backend. Even if I tell you one of my Python code I have written, I've combined multiple Python files to make it in the form of code. A .exe file I have made out. So let me show you one of that .exe file also, and that is entirely using Python. So okay, so you can see here that it's only and only download.exe file. This exe file is nothing but my multiple Python files I have combined and formed a single exe file. You have seen that whenever you would like to install some program, you always get .exe files. Have you seen that some company is sharing, the Windows company is sharing .c hash files, C# files, Java files for you to install something or run something? What do you say? If they will start showing you those files, now you are going to leave that operating system and going to use another operating system. So this is a good practice to share a exe file. Ultimately, I don't want you guys to see my source code, what I've written at the backend. So I've combined everything and formed a exe file. Now the download code is something what you always do on internet, trying to find some code that can solve your problem, solve your practice problem. So same thing I've done. I request you to coin that Python words. So instead of going actually to the websites and finding it, you can double click this file and get the answers in front of you. So any word, those who are already doing Python, they might know, like Python string, list, any word in Python.
Tuple.
Okay, tuple it is. Anything else?
Dictionaries. Set.
Dictionary, okay. So Python,
List.
tuple. So I don't
The
want to
string
go on the
variables.
internet and get the answers. I will just run this file and I can run it multiple times. String and your Python function.
So variables, loops.
Yeah, there are hundreds of things. You can let me know. Thank you for adding it. And So my work here is to help other thousands of programmers to get the result in a single format. Instead of going to hundreds of websites and finding the result, I can get them the result depending on my internet connectivity. I'm dependent here on your scrapping tools. So you can see here, connection done now, some internet connectivity issue. So once connection is done, that is mean I can access some browser and find the result. So you can see here, I'm getting the results. And this results is a mixed website result. It can also show you the syntax, some theory, and some code. But to my amazement, I also came to know that this thing can also provide you the solutions. Like Python, I don't know how to use a factorial. I want to have factorial code in Python. So that I can also do. It has to just search online. But can I search for Java? Let's write down Java string. Don't know if I get the result for it. So you can see here a couple of files have been generated and your Python string. So this is how you write the strings in Python. So they are providing you snippets over here. All those examples are there. So strings in Python surrounded by single quotation marks or double quotation marks. So these things can help a new beginner, even the experienced person, even the persons who are making some live code or telling the interviewer the answers, they can take help from this program. So you can see the entire theory is also there, and you can run this program directly. You just copy from here and you can run it. So this is about Python string, Python factorial. Those who are from technical background, can anyone just have a glimpse and let me know if this program is somewhat correct for factorial of a number?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Correct, sir.
Developers out there with your basic
correct, sir,
knowledge.
actually.
Most of here are just beginners, so we are not getting these things. So we start with
You're not getting? Your voice breaked out.
we are from non-coding background, so most of the people, I think that they are not getting these things which you are just explaining.
Yes, you're right. So that's why I'm showing you these things. So this is extremely very much helpful to the non-IT backgrounds also. I also got Java string. Okay. Okay, Java string not much help. So this is about Java string. So don't know Java much. So those who know Java, is it correct?
Yes, sir, but lot of things to tell here, private or public, something else.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
of course. So I'm not written specific for Java. It's for Python only. And Python tuple, the last one. So here it is. So is it correct? Python tuple. This is how we declare a tuple in Python.
correct, sir.
Yeah, this is correct.
Oh, type tuple is immutable,
Correct,
which
sir,
can't
correct, sir.
change. So these things are also written. So it's like automation task over here. Yeah, sorry about it. So these are tasks you can cover. It's just like it's only and only Python coding I required for it. So this is the power of Python programming. You can automate a lot of stuff.
Sir,
So yes, please.
sir, may I know how many lines of code is it? Like how many lines of code?
Now I don't remember, but mostly in Python, I think I have written in 300 something lines, this entire code.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So Python is, might be you have seen in the last days that it's becoming the top recommended language in the corporates. And because of its easiness, how you can learn and how you can make a program easier, you don't have to worry about the syntaxes anymore. It can be taken care by the Python interpreter. Interpreter is something which is working at the back end that understands the Python code. So that is working for you guys. So agenda is that we will understand these things. Just read about it, learn about Python program, website scrapping, how we can do, and where to start learning. That I will be covering. The companies that use Python, there are a couple of companies out there, and they are all using for different applications. Like we have this, I have recently studied about that Facebook. The Facebook is using your face tagging feature, and it is using R at the background for it. And your Netflix is also using recommendation. It is using a Python NLP part. Uber is using also similar things. Google is using R for more analytics purpose. So to study about the chain of things, it comes like at pressing a word, what websites to come up, doing that analysis, they are using R for it. And there are certain other websites that are using Python for data science and hundreds of applications. So nowadays, now Python is not limited to only data science. It is open source also, and you can combine the power of Python to make something as websites, your databases, and your games scripting. Games can be a little tough and tedious to write in Python. That's why you see like top language for applications. Also, we use Flutter. You heard of this name? If something starts with F, something Android Studio, iOS apps. So nowadays, mix of programming language there that is supports iOS and Android also. So we have that thing in play. So everything has a key feature. They have key applications. So Python is basically for your automation, website development, database part, and data science application, where it is playing a very huge role. Now, Python is an interpreted high-level general-purpose programming language that I'm going to tell you in my lecture. So I will open PyCharm for it. I will be using PyCharm. You can use any tool out there. So programming will be same in most of the stuff. So if you go with the comparisons, we have Python and R as free, but SAS is the paid one. And learning is, it's very easier to learn Python because you, by God's gift, all of you have critical thinking application. Okay, so also you have that mindset. You can work as a developer. You can think about the logic, what to build. So that's why you can work with Python applications a lot faster. I remember one time I was teaching the same thing, and I asked my student that imagine there is a point A and B. How can you go from A to B? Simply writing a code. And the options could be like, you can go from left side, considering there is some object between A and B, you can go straight, or if there is some object, you can take a right turn or left turn. But he was something extraordinary. He told me that I will write a Python code and we are going to do a jump over that object. So it's your ability how you like to make a program. It's just your critical thinking ability. And there was one person who said that I'm going to throw away that object using my Python program and just cross that thing. So a couple of mindsets we have, beautiful mindsets. Graphical support. So you can see here you have best graphical. Sorry. So you have best graphical support for your Python. R is also not behind. We have a lot good support over there. And SAS, it's more of drag and drop. So you can have basic, more good charts. And yeah, it also a good graphical support. Data handling capacity. When we say the word data handling, it is key features you can write down. First is how many sources you can integrate it. Python can be now integrated with many sources directly from database, relational or open source, or it can be Excel, CSV, from websites like using web scraping tools. Like I have get my Corona data set, so I can directly work on it on the website. So there are numerous. And after that, what type of applications you can perform? Can you do the data transformation? That is changing one data type to another, or making some plots or similar type of stuff. Data cleaning is very important, and it can take around your 40-50% of the time alone is for data cleaning. Those who are in the corporate, what do you say? How much time we use for data cleaning and data transformation? Even we have one
60,
separate team to work
60,
on it.
70% of time. I think that.
Those who are in corporate, they might know that we have extra separate team for it. One team can grab the data from sources, and the other team works on it for data transformation and every stuff out there. We have a separate team for it. So that's how it is. And then what type of plots you can make it up. So if I keep those key applications in mind, everything works fine here. All three of them. Speed. R is slower if you're going for making programs with R. Programs like automation tasks. Maybe I've just double click and the task is to send a message from A to B, or do a call from A to B, to print something, to make a copy of something file, or convert a Word file to PDF file. So doing that task, R can take time, but Python can be easier. Python can be a lot easier with respect to that. And for data science also, yes, Python is being considered a very cool language to work because of its easiness and the results it gives you faster with that. So this is how you can do. And Python coders have a good good job decisions to, they can have big job designations they can choose from. They can have this field AI ML as one of them. It's only one of them. But apart from that, they can also go into this website developer out there, where they can learn Flask and Django. These things you can work on. For gaming, you also have Python developer, backend developer, what we say. These things you have to do. And it's not like you have to learn entire Python language for it, because we are mostly dependent on Google also. We can't even remember like every time that this is the way. Logical, we can think it up, that for doing concatenation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or we do so much programming that we can imagine that program also, that yeah, this is a flow we can follow. But exactly what is required, sometimes you also have to Google it. There might be possible that today you are writing a code and someone has already written a code for you, and you can take help from it just by doing simple 1 or 2 lines. Okay, so these things you can do as a Python developer. Data engineer. Now, data engineer is broad, very broad domain, and you don't have to only work towards this database. Like database, I suggest that you also have to learn how to work towards, I mean, you don't only have to work towards development side, you have to create the database out of it. You can also work on how to make data cleaning at the database level, data storage, making a schema. WhatsApp. So these things you can work on. And it's entirely with different domain. So it's 100% technical, but you can go to different frameworks also. It's 100% technical. This should be a computer, a PhD level type, MSc, that thing should be done to become a data engineer. Testing framework. So we can test the code also. We can use, this is very related to your QA skills, quality analyst, tester who is out there, how you can make something with that, and you can utilize that Python programming for that. Data science, again, it's very broad. It's very broad. You can use the data science applications also, and you can use for machine learning data and every stuff out there. computer graphics, you have OpenCV for it. You have NLP. If you're going for it, you can use that, also text analytics behind it. And the computer graphics is also, so 100% you required Python coding. And there are other packages also, don't worry about it. And big data. So big data, we have now PySpark, if you have heard of how Spark is combined with Python language out there. And you should also know Hive to extract the data for big data applications. So these things you can work on. Is there any question you'd like to ask from this section? You can let me know.
Yeah, hello. See, actually,
yes,
See, actually, I'm working for the contact center. So that you know that AWS having some cloud-based contact center that's called Amazon Connect. Okay. So for that, some automation we are using like a Python. So I do not have any code for that. I needed some knowledge in that.
Yours is again very specific, yeah. So let me know by the end of the session. So I think yours is regarding AWS that we can discuss.
Okay. But you see, anyway, that's a code is Python code is the same. That I'm going to run it on the AWS Lambda.
You can run that Python code on AWS Lambda. That's for sure.
That's sure. Even I am not sure, but what I want is say everything you have some samples code, but in that scenario we do not have any samples code. I need for this. Do you have any idea? You can.
Yes, that is very hard to find. I remember when I was making that Alexa program, I have to learn Node.js for that specifically. I was not able to do with respect to Python, and then gradually it took me a month to understand how to build some Python app on using NLP for it. So it was very difficult. But now it was like back in 2019. So after COVID, you can see there is I think easier applications out there. There is a huge growth has done in last 2 years. So definitely Python can be written. At that time, we are able to write it down.
Sir, what about data scientist?
Yeah, data science to entirely it's Python and R out there, which are leading languages in data science. So data science has different applications. You can attend the machine learning workshops. I think maybe in this month or next month starting, we have that workshop. You can attend that. There I can show a thorough stuff how to use it.
So you can you can schedule the other session to run the Lambda as well, right?
Yeah, that I have to now learn. It's been 2 years back, but I can show my NLP program what I have done in Alexa. That might be having a backup. I can show that thing.
Okay.
So those who are having a profession not only in computer science but different domain, they can switch a career. I myself have helped marketers also doing digital marketing and CAs. Doctors no, but there's definitely a chance in that field also. And lawyers also, they definitely have a chance. They can use for Python for automation tasks and data analysis purposes. And other packages like Tableau, Power BI, they can be used also. Now, as per the NASSCOM and AICTE, last year what they have mentioned on their website, the top 10 skills in the world that is going to change the world is these top 10 skills. And everything was highlighting Python as one of them. Now you can see here, AI is the top one. Despite, I think if you have heard of like AICTE designs the engineering colleges curriculum.
Yes, sir.
So for them, they highlight that no matter which field you're working on, you have to, this AI is going to be top one. You can choose this also. 5G, cloud computing, cybersecurity, blockchain, IoT, quantum. And if you read this article, it might be there, but it's been now 1 year complete. It was last year, January, I have read this article on their website, on AICTE website. And it was also published on Hindustan Times that Hindustan Times we have on Tuesday, some business forum page was to be published. In that they have mentioned from NASSCOM, the article was taken. They mentioned exactly same thing because AICTE has fetched the data from NASSCOM only. They said like, no matter you're learning these skills you require a programming language of Python. R is the top one. Java is also there. C++ also is there. Once a company is being making some application, they have to be open in all the domain. But this is everyone has mentioned. Of course, I'm not taking the hardware. I'm not talking about this 3D printing. Maybe coding is at the backend Python, but hardware is required. No? Quantum computing, again, hardware is required. So at the database level, what type of program is best suited? I'm not good at database level. So they might be, but everyone has mentioned Python and R. So I have that article also. So I will share that article on the same link where you can download this particular content, which I will be sharing, the PPT and my Python code also by tomorrow. You can have the access for it. So Python programming. So I've already showed you the application of web scraping, not digging deep into it. Uses of web scraping. You can use for e-commerce websites. Like I've shown one of the application for automation, but you can. There is one company. The name is.
Just giving the introduction of this topic. When are you going?
Sorry. Your voice very low.
You are giving just the introduction. When you are going to teach us the coding?
I am about to, because that tomorrow also it's about coding only. Selenium automation, it will be very less task. Okay, don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Okay, trust me, you are going to learn the basic coding, what I require for it. Same thing I'm going to use tomorrow also.
Okay, sir, but the session is only for 2 hours. That's why we have already just passed 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's why.
Yes, I understand. But the doubts I'm getting is really good doubts. And there are certain other applications also you can take forward. So there's one company, I forgot the name, but recently, like last 6 months, they have taken a test and it was on e-commerce Amazon, and they're looking forward to fetch the data for a particular type of baby product. And they gave 1 hour to complete that stuff. And trust me, the only thing that they are looking forward is to use the Selenium. It was an automation task. You have to fetch the data for different that particular baby products on but for going into this website, logging in with your username, password, putting the OTP out there, and then choosing that pin code. With respect to pin code, your products differ, so it should be India for me. And then when I fetched the result, they wanted the result in the form of Excel file. So everything was mixed, but the important thing was Selenium out here, how to automate it. Luckily, I was able to crack it. If I have not done the Selenium last year, I would not have even be able to correct it. So last year means like 2019, not 2020. Okay, so it was a good practice out there. Content aggregators, like I've shown you, one of the news article scrapping or your hash code scrapping you can use for contents also from any of websites. Marketing, sales, like I have scrapped the Corona database to get the fresh results. You can take it from your own company's website at the backend or your stocks and investment sites. Search engine optimization and data for projects. Yes, so you can use these things. Okay, so this is a basic structure. First is download the contents, extract the data out of it, storing the data, and analyzing the data. That comes very first later on. And these are the modules that are being used in the market. So you can see here. So our request, a beautiful soap, Scrappy, URL lib3, Selenium. So first 4 are basically for scrapping, not for automating. It goes to the website at the backend and fetch the result. But Selenium automation is something you're asking your Python program to go to some website when you are not doing anything. It is going to the website, putting your username, your password, or doing that much amount of stuff. So this is mean by automation. And you should have good internet connectivity, because it's all automation. If the time lag is very much higher, like when I was showing you my program, I was not able to complete so, but it actually worked. I made a video out of it already. Internet connectivity is very important. Low bandwidth, it is not going to work. Understand? And this is, you can go through and only using my Selenium and Python understanding. Some scrapping tools also, but mainly using these two. I was able to build an application known as WhatsApp automation. And believe me, I've got so many calls because of that particular project I have completed. You can go to my YouTube also. It's only one video just for demonstration I've uploaded. I've not shared code anywhere. So what I do, when you marketing persons, what in the marketing persons do for WhatsApp automation, they have to save the number in the mobile, then not broadcast, send the messages. So it takes a lot of time, or make some chatbot out there. But using my program, I was able to send the messages to unknown phone numbers also. I don't have to save the now phone numbers anymore. So demonstration have already been there on my YouTube channel. So it's just for demonstration. That's it. You can go through that. You can just find the same thing under Nitish Vik. Okay, so Selenium is there. So let me start my PyCharm and show you that. I'm just opening my PyCharm. Okay, it's opening. So in this, I will be teaching like how to write the Python code. Today only Python code and how we can execute the program. Tomorrow it's more about automation. So we will be learning about how to get the stuff from particular website. I hope it is visible to all of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, sir.
This is how the PyCharm looks. This is my layout for it. And once you install it, just Google it, how to install the PyCharm, very basic. You can go through the website configuration, but look forward for system configuration. Is it 32-bit or 64-bit? Based on that, you have to download it.
Sir,
Okay.
sir, is the PyCharm free?
Yeah, to some extent. To some extent, it is free. Like if you are looking forward to make entirely good for your web development applications, it is a paid one. You can't do so. Or database related application, you can't do so. For gaming, I think to free it is something, but you can use it for all type of Python backend. For all Python backend automation tasks, building some program, what I have built also, .exe file, I can do with it. PyCharm, everything I have done.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So once the PyCharm is opened, sorry.
Does it also work on Mac?
Yes, Mac, Linux. So the company who has former developed that Eclipse. Have you heard of Eclipse, Java Eclipse? Android Eclipse is there. The company is IntelliJ. They have developed this PyCharm. So they have developed a new product. Just Google it. It's related to Python data science, completely data science. So I'm not using that one because of my system limitation and storage. So you can use that one also if you have ample amount.
Sir, sorry for interrupting. Sir, I have 6 and 32-bit and Windows 7 and 32-bit. I can't install PyCharm. What is that alternative for that? Can you say that?
32-bit you have?
Yes.
You can use it.
No, I can't install PyCharm.
You're not able to install.
Sir, I think it's working on 64-bit only.
Yes, only for 64-bit it's starting for working.
Maybe they have removed it. When I started, I also had 32-bit laptop. So I think at that time it was there. Might be they have updated.
Alternative software for that.
Alternate software. Yes, there are. Like you can use Thorny is there, Python Idle is there, Spider is there, Sublime Text, Visual Studio Code. All these things are alternates only. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So guys, basics we have to cover. Please mute yourself. Okay, so those who are like to put question, they can unmute and speak. But in the middle while, now it's okay. Okay. So when we write Python, it's basically when you're writing something as a math problem, what you have done in school time. Remember when you have some question like, suppose you bought a basket of apples for rupees 400 and it has 20 apples. Find cost of one apple. So in those cases, what you do in maths, you assume, let's say, cost of one apple or cost of one apple, no? Cost of an apple is equal to X, and then total cost is equal to 400. Then total apples is equal to 20. So cost of an apple X is equal to total cost divided by total apples. This is how you solve your maths problem. Same thing you have to write in Python now. Very similar. Just giving a brief on it. So we write here also cost of one apple, cost of an apple. You write this thing and you write here my total cost is equal to 400 and total apples is equal to 20, and then you highlight total cost divided by total apples, and then you print this thing. Print or you show this thing on your copies. So I'm just printing it. Let us run this program. And here is the answer on the right side. Done nothing. Simply putting your maths. That's the power of Python. It was developed by Guido van Rossum, who was a programmer and a mathematician. So because of that, he wanted to make everything simple for all of you. He don't want you to write so much if and buts, to start with void main or declare something like you have in Java, public variables out there. Don't. At the back end, this Python is known as dynamically typed language. What we mean by dynamically typed? Okay, I will come one by one to the important points here. Python is dynamically typed. This means when you write something as, I write X as 10. Whereas certain types, data types in each of the languages, like when you start communicating in English, you should know what is the alphabet, what is the special characters, how we pronounce numbers, adverbs, adjectives, and carry on. So we have data types in all the programming languages. We have data types in Python. Have you heard of these terms? String, integer,
Yes, sir.
float, Boolean. What do you all say?
Yes.
Great. So tell me, when I write this X as simply this, what do you think is a data type out of these four?
Integer.
Integer, sir. Int.
Int.
Sure?
Yes,
Sure,
sir.
Great. Others are very sure. Those who are from non-IT, this is an integer. And I have not defined anywhere as integer. I have not written here like my int X is equal to 100. This is the integer. You don't have to write such things. This is the job of the Python interpreter at the back end. So this is why Python is dynamically typed. The moment I write and I run this program, you can see it is coming as integer. I've written only 10, but when I change it to 10 point something, 10.2 I write down. I've not now defined anywhere it is decimal or floating point. I run it, and now you see the first one is integer and second is float. And similarly, if I encapsulate it in a bracket, or sorry, in a pair of quotes or double quotes, single or double quotes, quotation marks, it becomes a string. You can see now third time it is showing a string. So this is what we mean by dynamically typed. You don't have to declare anything which you are doing in other programming languages. You don't have to terminate also. No need to terminate in semicolon or comma. If I write here comma, semicolon, you can see I'm getting the answer. So you can omit it, no need. I can write a comma, run it, I can getting the answer. Oh, it's changed the data type, sorry. Let's write a comma here. So you can see I'm getting the answer.
So how to terminate this?
Sorry?
Sir, so how to terminate a single code block?
No need to terminate, it's already terminated. The moment you run it, you don't have to write anything at the end.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so it's already terminated. Each sentence is terminated by itself. You don't have to write it, but just don't mix it. Like after comma, if I write here print. So there is no error in that in the way, because both are inbuilt functions. So I will put more light on it later on. What we mean by why it is not giving the error. So this is what we mean by dynamically typed. You don't have to worry about writing a data type name, integer, string, character, or your float, boolean before declaring a variable. So there is no need for it. So that's why it's a dynamically typed, and it makes your program a lot easier to write it. Now, few of the data types we have here. Data types like we have we have a data type of string. String is defined as collection of characters that can be written in a pair of single or double quotes. So I can write here my word as happy home. This is a word for me. Or you can write it in Negali, request you to please don't do annotations. Next time, please don't do it. Or I can write in a single quotes also. We can write place as Delhi. Both are correct. We can display the result like a word and your print place. And I will comment. So you can see their hash. All the sentences that I have written in hash, sorry, I have not mentioned on it. That is known as a comment. It is a single line comment. Comment are the most necessary things for the developers. Because you will, as a developer, switch from one job to another job. So you also have to help other developers to understand what you have written inside the code. We use comments for it. It's even if I am in the company, I have developed a program, and 1 month after some bug comes up, error comes up, and I have to cross verify what is the answer, what is the problem. I have to go through the entire code and have the entire understanding again. So I can use the comments. This is just for developers perspective, what you have done. So putting the developers information, developers side information, or developers helping information using this comment, you can use it. The Python interpreter does not execute any task on it. It does not perform anything. It just simply passes. So it's a top-down approach. The moment it sees hash sign, the line in Python is starting with a hash, it is going to just skip it and go to the next line. And where it is not starting with the hash, it is going to execute it. Execute the code. So in PyCharm, I am executing the code using your run Alt Shift F10 or Control plus F5. I'm using Control
So
plus
how-
F5, but different modules, different software, different shortcuts. Just look at them.
So how to use multi-line comment in Python?
Okay, you can use a pair of triple single quotes or triple double quotes. Like here, I'm using triple double quotes and triple double quotes. So this is everything. You can see it has changed the color. So this means it has been taken as a now comment. This is
Yes,
multiple
sir.
line comment.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
So
how
when the
you
Python
commented,
interpreter will learn, it is going
sir, how you
simply
commented
going to pass
multiple,
it. Sorry,
how you commented multiple lines at the same time?
how do I?
How you commented multiple lines at same time?
Where I have done it?
Previously you have done like at starting, the Apple example.
Oh, these things
Yes, sir. How you commented
like
5
this.
lines at a time you commented?
So it's Control plus backslash. That's the forward or back forward slash. Control plus forward slash.
Okay, okay, sir.
So run it, and you will see both are giving the answer. So this is how you simply write out a string. If you talk about another data type, which is integer, all the numbers are defined as integers, discrete numbers. So you can write your number as any number. So 5 or y as -6 or z as 15000. These are all the numbers, and it is all of integer numbers, integer format. So x, and I'm just now displaying the type also side by side. So this is for x, y, and z. Y, z. Run it, and all these trees are coming as integer. I have not declared anything as int x, int y, int z, anything. I have not declared anything. Okay. The next is floating point. Floating are all the decimal numbers. So the moment you write down point, 1 point, okay, or b is equal to -6.3, or c is equal to 14.14, these are all the floating point numbers. A and type of A, B, C. Run it, and you can see all three are float. And last is your Boolean. We have other data types also, but I'm not putting more light on it as of now. Sorry. Booleans are something what we simply write down as true or false. So basically we use these for expression checks. Expression check, that's it. So for example, I write down if my, okay, if I am not explained, so I will explain that thing. As of now, any question from the basic data types we have and how to write Python? Any questions?
So what is the work of Boolean?
Boolean is mainly used for expressions check, true or false. Like when I write down print 10 is greater than 20, this is a Boolean expression. The answer will be either true or false.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So we use it in something like while true, I write down. So while true, so let's think later on. So what we do, we use in expression checks, or we can also declare it as variable, which can be used for different applications. You can also write down that flag is equal to false, and if some condition becomes true, like if my 10 is greater than 20, 10 is greater than 5, in that case my flag should become my true, else flag is equal to false. So if some person gives you this program on the internet and ask you what is the value of flag now after I complete this program,
True.
what do all of us says? True, false?
True. True.
Why true?
Because the 10 is greater than 5.
Yes, 10 is greater than 5, And this is, guys, those who are from non-IT background, I'm writing here a conditional statement. Don't worry, there are certain to and fro for it. Conditional statements are used for multiple switch cases. So if some certain condition is true, you like to execute a task. So you put a if else. We don't have switch cases here. We only have if else. I've written the program directly, but these are called as conditional statements. And the very first is what we have is if else. How we write if else? Syntax is if, and write down the expression. Write down the expression here.
Sir, here the output is showing false.
No, I have not run the program. I have not run it actually as of now.
Okay.
Okay. So if expression, then your statement should be written over here, and then if expression, and last is else, where you don't write the expression, you directly write it down. Statements. So this is what I have done.
So it is
I
the
am
structure of nested if.
Nested if. Yeah, why you are asking such questions? So nested if should be written inside one of any if block or if else block. If I have this thing, let's write down. So nested if, just writing the if else block or if block inside another if else. So if I would like to write here, if expression, this statement, else. So now can you see the nested if else? I written a
Yes,
if
sir.
else inside if else. So you can write that if else inside the if block also, else block also. This is nothing but nested if.
Okay, sir.
Those who are from non-IT background, just leave that thing. We would like to just evaluate an expression. So wherever we would like to evaluate the expression and perform some task on based on it, we use the if else here. And there is only and only if else. So I'm just evaluating the expression that if 10 is greater than 5, my flag, any variable I have taken, dummy variable, X, Y, Z, even I write here Nitish, no problem in that. It is now just a variable. This Nitish. So initially when I started the program, I said Nitish is equal to false. Based on some expression, if it becomes true, my Python interpreter will go into this if block and execute the task. If it is false, then I will go to the next block and execute the task. Currently my 10 is greater than 5. All of you know good in maths. So I will go into this if block, change the value of Nitish from false to true. And when this else block is avoided, because only one block can be opened, either if or else. Only one expression will be true. Now run it. Flag not defined. Where written flag, flag, flag. So here written flag.
Nitish.
So you can see it is becoming true now.
True.
If I change the expression, let's change the expression here. I will write down my 20 is equal to 40. Is it true? 20
No, sir,
40 के equal है क्या?
False.
No, sir.
So now what will be the updated value of Nitish?
False.
False.
Last one, right? So you can see it is false. Or I can write something else here. Abracadabra. I don't know. So Nitish is updated to the next value. So it started with false. When I checked the expression, it became false. So because of that, I've entirely skipped my if block, come to the else block. In the else block, I found that the value have been updated to abracadabra and it has been printed out. This is the basic if else, clear to all of you, non-IT people especially. I'm just writing prints because I'm the developer, na? So I can do anything. You can write your partner, you can write Delhi, ABC, yes, no, anything you can write down. I'm a developer, so I've written false just to show that what is my purpose here is to tell you that what is the initialization I've done, how I started, based on the if else block, how the value has changed. That's it. That is my perspective here.
Sir, I'm having a doubt, sir. Sir, can I declare a 0 for the variable Nitish as I'm using this Boolean operations? at
You
the
can,
initial-
you can. Yes, you can. You can declare anything. I can write here 0. No problem. You know. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
But you should declare something if you're writing a variable. It shouldn't be like, it should not be like this, Nitish, that's it, and run it. It will always give the error. Declare something and then do the task. Update it, evaluate it, add, delete, remove, anything you want to do, you can do it. But declare something.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this is what we mean by our simple if else block. Now for tomorrow's session, what I need to understand it is if else block. Just go through this file today and I will share this file with all of you. You can look at it. I will also share this code and PPT and one ebook I can also upload that can be very helpful for the beginners. How to start. Basically, everyone has to start something to start. So how to start, that can help you out. And for tomorrow's session for Selenium, I require understanding of the functions also and try catch. The try catch, let me explain, which I require for tomorrow. So in Python coding, I'm not going into deep things because this task, what I'm going to do, very simple, basic understanding what you require. But yeah, you should know how to go to the website. What is the information you're looking on the website? That I have to explain that thing from my side. Trust me, I will complete that thing. So if else is only this thing required, data types required, functions you should know. So functions, I'm not now going into list and tuples. Some people know how it is list and tuples. You can save the result in list and tuples. And believe me, today also the very famous question of the interviewer is the difference between list and tuple. Basic and important question till now. I have recently switched my profile. Now as a BA, in this month end, I will be working as a technical specialist now. I will be working on the big data tools from the next month onwards. When I was giving the interviews for the last 4 or 5 months, same question. What is list difference between list and tuple? It is still the famous question. So you can understand why important it is. And they ask around SQL always, no matter what profile, they always ask SQL. Okay, you should know it. So data science pandas, SQL, visualization they ask, Tableau questions they ask, and they give you the Python coding. They will give you in front of you, open the camera and write down the code. So that's how market has been competitive. And hackathons. Have you heard of hackathons?
Yeah.
Hackathons are there nowadays.
Yes, sir.
So there is a website called as Kaggle, which is holding a very vast number. Actually, it's the #1 website which has the unlimited data sources now. Data sets are unlimited available. Just choose your industry. Entertainment, some sports, politics, and coronas. Just choose your industry and start working on it. So it's very different actually. Don't take it with Python. So what I mentioned here, that they give you the type of data set also, and they will ask your steps, how will you evaluate it and show the results. This is also a way. So in this last 4 months, I'm just saying what I have seen. I'm just sharing it with you. So a couple of things have changed because of offline to online and mode of taking an application. The test nowadays, it's changed a lot. So maybe you can ask like later on, I can help you maybe in one way or other for that. So functions, and we have exceptional handling. Okay. Exceptional handling. Exceptional handling is you all should know also, because when we work as a developer, what happens? We make initially a lot of mistakes out here, and it becomes at some time very frustrated. You are simply practicing some Fibonacci series or factorial of a number, something like that, It is not giving you the answer. It is each time giving you this type of mistake. Like I'm not able to even execute my program. For example, if I have not written like this, Nitish, it's giving the error. And think of each time running it, I'm getting such type of error. I'm not getting the output at all. It irritates the programmer. Ultimately, he will lose interest and will keep going for other options. I don't want you guys to help that. So that's why for that we have your exceptional handling. Let me show you the application first. So wherever I think there is a error, but it should not be the compiler error. We have some sorts of error here. Okay, for example, the compiler error. If I talk about small thing about exception handling, to catch all types of errors. This is the perspective of your exceptional application of your exception handling. We have few types of errors. Now, guys, if I write simply, I know you don't know how to write in Python. I don't know. So I'm just declaring something this x is equal to 0. And I would like to perform the task of x into 10. Can you tell me the error here?
It's not, there's no equal sign between x and 0.
Yeah.
All of you agree on that? Those are non-IT also.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the error? I have not taken an equal here. So if I am not following with the grammar of my Python, I will always get the error. This is the grammar. So like you have in English, you have to terminate with full stop. Each word when you're starting a sentence should be a capital. Sorry, each letter of the sentence shall be capital, and your I as a proverb you should know write in capital. So these are just grammatical errors. So any grammatical error in Python is known as compile time error. And the Python interpreter is so much smart that the very first error look forward to compile time. If there is any error in the grammar, it is not going to proceed. You will not go from input screen to output screen. Where I am writing today, that is day1.py, that is my input screen. And my output screen on the extreme left side, you can right side, you can see on the screen. That is the output screen. It will not go from left to right. So compile time error, all grammatical errors. Okay, we have more to it, but since it is very first day and initial class, I don't want to add more. So it's a grammatical error. If I run this, you can see it is popping the error. I put a equal here and I get the answer. Simply putting x into 10, I have printed x into 10. So 0 into 10 is every time it's 0 only. And I would like to do exponential of 2. So we know the e to the power 0. It should be something 1, right? Anything from to the power 0 is 1.
1.
Agree
Yes.
on that?
Yes.
So if I write exponential to the power of 0, okay, it should be my 1. What is the error I'm getting?
There is no parenthesis.
So again, syntax error. So grammatical error, syntax error are the compile time errors, what my compiler catches. So this thing you should avoid. And exception handling don't catch this syntactical errors. Exponential is there. Import math. It's a part of math. Sorry, I should have included it. Math is external package. Okay. Even now, if I just don't write 0, it will show again the same thing. So bracket, and now I'm getting e to the power 0. I've not printed it. Print. So print is the function which we use to show the answer on the output screen. Now it will show 1. So these are the compile time errors you have. I hope clarity is given to all of you. Then the other we have is the runtime error. The errors which are not having grammatical error, but because of your you have done something, it is being caught up at the interpreter side. So on the output screen, what you're seeing, we have that Python interpreter, what we call as PVM, Python virtual machine. Once the Python virtual machine catches the error at the running state, in the compilation state, there is no error. At the running state, there will be error. So I can take an example of I am taking some A as high and my B as 12. Print A, print B. Do you see any error as of now?
No, sir.
Everyone, non-IT background, especially non-IT backgrounds, can you confirm?
Yeah, no errors.
No, sir, no. No.
Is that is equal
It
to
will
after
be
B?
running on the output screen. I'm writing one more state. Is there any error in it?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What is the error?
No error, sir.
No, it
No
is not
error.
possible to add.
It will not add the string and the integer part.
We cannot
You're right.
add
Sir, we
two
can
data
add, sir,
types.
because
It's like partial concatenation.
You're right. There is an error. Those who are non-IT background, just see the code carefully. I've written high and 10. I cannot add apple to banana, mango to grape. I cannot do it. So I'm adding a string to a number. Not possible. It should be of the same data type, either strings or numbers. I can do this thing. If I have something, C is equal to 5, and I write here C plus 5. Is there any error in last sentence?
No,
no,
sir.
sir.
No, sir.
So it
No,
will
sir,
be
not now.
executed and it will be displaying the answer also. No error. But if I do A plus B, at the time of writing, there is no error. There is nothing grammatical mistake I'm doing. But when I'm running on the output screen, you can see I'm getting the notification. So you can write these things. Whenever there is a grammatical error or compile time error, no line will be executed. No line will be executed. So if I write on the bottom also something x0, simply writing x0, it is not going to print anything. You can see on the output screen, nothing is there because of my grammatical error. It will not allow my input program to go to the output side. But if there is no grammatical error, it will allow my Python interpreter to go from input to output. So at the time of output, it has got the wrong input. That at the time of displaying A plus B, it was thinking I'm doing some A plus B. So when I did A plus B, string is added to the number and it's shown this error. So everything on the top was executed. No error. High was executed, 10 was executed, but 15 executed. And when I'm doing C plus B, 15 executed, and your A plus B is giving the error. And it is showing you this thing. So this is the runtime error. Errors that are detected by the PVM, Python virtual machine, in running state. So this is what we have. So we have to catch runtime error most of the times. So if I am running this program, this try Nitish is equal to 0, I have to run, for example. Okay. Try or exceptional blocks. Exceptional handling blocks. How we write exceptional handling blocks? We write down the try, then we write down the except, so there except if there is any error, print or display error. It can be used for other things also, but it's first I'm not going deep into it. And in try block, we write down all the statements which we think as a developer side can bring the errors, and it can be caught by the compiler. So what I can write here, Nitish is 0. Try As of now, what do you think will be printed out? Error or something else if I run this program?
Error
What do you
will
think
be
will be printed out?
Abracadabra.
Yes,
Abracadabra.
great. And you can see abracadabra is printed out. I wanted to check whether in this logic, if it is any mistake, my interpreter will catch that error in the try block and then execute the except statement to show what is the alternate answer it can provide to you. If I change it in this way, okay, this answer will not appropriate here. I can give you a simple one. My number 1 is equal to 10 and number 2 is equal to 0 or 20. Print. What do you think will be the answer here?
1/2.
1 by
Huh?
2. 1 by 2.
1/2.
Actually, 0, sir.
0.5.
Yeah,
You cannot
0.5.
take point numbers.
0.5 it is going to print out. As there is no error, logical or anything, but if I change it to 0, what will be the answer?
Error, sir.
Yes,
Error.
but it is the error, but on the output screen you will not see an error. It is going to show, it will show the error, but not in the red color. It will simply show because as an output I am looking forward to the error. So it is being printed out. If I'm not using the try except block, what will happen? I will be frustrated as the programmer because each time it will be done like this.
Syntactical error.
Okay, each time red color comes up and that is a red mark for the developer. He always avoids it. So I don't want to see each time this sort of message to come up. I want that if there is any error, let me know. I will go through that code and correct it. So there are multiple try except blocks we have, multiple in the program, and multiple functions we use to debug. Debugging becomes easier for it. So it's a different thing to study. But I hope it is clear, like why I'm using try and except block. I don't want to see this message. If there is any error, just show that message to me. What I, as a developer, I have written. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is for your work today. So tomorrow it will be functions and how to get the data from online sources. So I'll be using some tools like Selenium and scrapping. I will tell you tomorrow how to install that. How to install a package also that we have to discuss.